Hey, bookworms. Welcome back to Book Summary Podcast.
Ooh.
Today, we're diving deep into The Hate U Give
Yeah.
by Angie Thomas.
All right.
And trust me, this book, you got to read it.
It's so good.
It's thought-provoking, powerful, and stays with you
Absolutely. It's one of those books
long after you finish it.
that sticks with you.
So hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss out
You don't want to miss this.
on more deep dives like this one.
For sure.
Now, let's get into it.
Right.
Angie Thomas throws us right into the heart of Garden Heights,
Oh, yeah.
a predominantly black neighborhood, and introduces us to our main character,
Okay.
Starr Carter, this incredible 16-year-old girl
She's such a great character.
navigating two very different worlds.
Yeah. What's
Yeah.
really fascinating here is how Angie Thomas uses this contrast
Mm-hmm.
between Starr's neighborhood, Garden Heights, and her school.
Yeah.
The predominantly white Williamson prep to illustrate the concept of code switching.
Code switching, yeah.
Starr has to constantly adjust how she talks, dresses, even how she acts.
It's almost like she's
depending on which world she's in.
two different people, yeah.
Imagine having to change who you are just to fit in.
It's exhausting.
It's exhausting, and Angie Thomas really captures that feeling.
Yeah, you really get a sense of that in the book.
Absolutely.
Exactly. It's like she's leading a double life.
Yeah.
And this whole idea of double consciousness,
Uh-huh.
of having to see yourself through the eyes of both the black community and the white world,
Right.
is central to Starr's journey.
Absolutely.
We see this tension play out right from the beginning.
Yeah.
Like at Big D's spring break party.
Oh, that party. Yeah.
This party's a big deal in Garden Heights.
It is.
Full of music,
Lots of music.
dancing.
Yeah.
And let's just say a few things that might not be totally legal.
A little bit of trouble, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Starr's clearly uncomfortable there, not really fitting in,
Right.
despite being surrounded by people she knows.
You know what's interesting about that discomfort at the party?
Yeah.
It shows how Starr feels like an outsider,
Mm.
even in her own neighborhood, foreshadowing the struggles
Oh, that's a good point.
she'll face later on. Now, we're introduced to Khalil, Starr's childhood best friend, at this party.
So he's there too.
They have this instant connection, falling back into their old rhythm.
It's like no time has passed at all.
If no time has passed, it's a genuinely heartwarming moment.
It almost tricks you, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah, it does.
Makes you forget that you're in the middle of a story
Yeah.
about injustice.
Uh-huh.
And then Angie Thomas hits you with the reality
Right.
of Starr's world. Khalil gets shot by a white police officer
Oh, gosh.
right in front of her.
Right there.
So brutal.
That juxtaposition is brutal.
Yeah.
You have this joyful reunion,
Yeah, that happy moment,
and then bam, it's ripped away.
gone.
Like a gut punch.
It really is.
And it throws Starr's entire world into chaos. Think about the trauma of witnessing something like that,
I can't even imagine.
especially as a teenager.
Yeah.
It sets the stage for everything that follows.
Yeah, it really does. It's absolutely heartbreaking. The aftermath of the shooting is just intense.
Oh, yeah.
Starr's in shock. Her parents are frantic.
Total chaos.
And the police start their investigation.
Makes sense.
And we're introduced to Uncle Carlos,
Oh, Uncle Carlos.
Starr's uncle, who's a detective and wants Starr to testify.
So he's part of the system,
He is,
but also family.
it's a complicated.
Uncle Carlos's presence adds another layer of complexity to the story.
I agree.
He represents law enforcement,
Yeah,
but he's also family.
family, yeah.
Someone Starr trusts.
Right,
This creates a conflict for her.
it does.
Who does she side with?
Right.
The system that took Khalil's life or her own blood?
Such a tough position to be in.
It reflects the difficult choices so many face when dealing with systemic injustice.
I see that, yeah.
You know, it's a real moral dilemma.
It is.
And it highlights the tension that exists within the family, too.
Absolutely.
You have Daddy, who deeply distrusts the police.
Yeah, he's got his reasons.
Mama, who just wants to keep Starr safe.
Of course.
And then Uncle Carlos caught in the middle.
Yeah.
This family dynamic mirrors the larger societal division
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
that the book explores.
It's like a microcosm of society.
Absolutely. You see the generational trauma, the fear, the anger
Yeah, it's all there.
that many Black communities feel towards law enforcement reflected in their arguments.
It's not just about this one incident, is it?
It's not just about one incident.
Uh-huh.
It's about a history
Generations, yeah.
of oppression and broken trust.
It runs deep.
And that makes Starr's decision about whether to testify
Yeah. So much harder.
even more difficult.
You can really feel the weight of it,
You can just feel it.
of potentially speaking out against a system that's failed her community.
And knowing that it could be dangerous.
It's
a lot for one person to carry.
Absolutely. And then we have Khalil's funeral.
Yeah.
It's so heavy with emotion.
Oh, yeah.
And the eulogy is powerful.
It is. It is.
And just when you think it's a moment of unity and grieving,
Yeah.
it's interrupted by King and the King Lords.
No, no.
Yeah.
That disruption is terrifying.
It is.
And it highlights the dangers present
Oh, yeah.
in Starr's community. The King Lords control Garden Heights through fear and violence.
That's right.
And their presence at the funeral
Shows just how much power they have.
shows how deeply their influence runs.
You see it everywhere. And right when you think things can't get any worse, we find out Khalil was a King Lord.
Whoa.
Changes everything.
That revelation completely challenges how we
Yeah, I didn't see that coming.
and Starr see him.
It really does.
Right. We've seen Khalil through Starr's eyes. Funny, sweet, harmless.
Exactly. But now
There's this whole other side to him.
there's this whole other side to him, this association with gang activity. Really makes you think, doesn't it?
It forces us to question everything
Yeah.
we thought we knew about him.
Totally changes your perspective.
And it sets up a really interesting internal conflict for Starr.
For sure. And it's just the beginning of a long and difficult journey for her. Before we go any further, though,
Yeah.
make sure you hit that like button
Do it.
and subscribe to our channel
Don't miss out.
for more in-depth discussion
Or deep dives.
on books that make you think.
Absolutely.
We'll be right back with part 2
Looking forward to it.
to continue exploring Starr's story, so stay tuned.
Can't wait. Welcome back to our deep dive into The Hate U Give.
We're back.
We left off with Starr,
Starr's going through a lot.
grappling with the truth
Yeah.
about Khalil,
It's heavy stuff.
the looming threat from King,
And that pressure of her upcoming testimony.
and the pressure of her upcoming testimony.
Yeah, she's got a lot on her plate.
It's a lot to handle.
It is.
And this is where her journey towards finding her voice really takes center stage.
You're absolutely right. Starr's going through so much internally.
Yeah.
She meets Mrs. Ofra,
Oh, Ms. Hogan.
this amazing lawyer who's taking on Khalil's case.
Powerful woman.
And she sees how Mrs. Ofra fearlessly uses her voice to fight for justice.
Yeah.
It inspires Starr to want to do the same,
Makes sense.
to make sure Khalil's story is heard.
Right, not the distorted narrative.
Yeah, not the one that's being pushed by the media and the police.
The media and the police.
It's like a light bulb goes off for her.
You can just see it. Mrs. Ofra becomes a mentor figure
Yeah.
for Starr,
Totally.
showing her how to channel her anger and grief
Yeah.
into meaningful action.
It gives her an outlet. Think about it. You've got this young girl,
Just 16 years old,
16,
witnessing the system failing her community,
failing her friends.
failing her friend.
Mrs. Ofra gives her the tools to fight back, to reclaim the narrative.
Yeah, that's empowering. It's such a powerful dynamic.
It is.
And it really speaks to the importance
It does.
of having strong role models
Especially when you're facing these kinds of challenges.
who can guide us,
Yeah.
especially when we're facing difficult challenges.
Yeah, exactly. And the challenges keep coming for Starr.
Oh, they do.
Remember, she's still navigating these two different worlds.
Yeah.
Garden Heights and Williamson Prep.
Those two contrasting worlds.
Back at Williamson,
Yeah.
it's like Khalil's death barely registers.
Like it didn't even happen.
Life just goes on, and the contrast between how her two worlds are reacting
Oh, yeah.
is stark.
That contrast highlights
It's crazy.
the different realities that
Yeah.
Starr's constantly having to reconcile
Reconcile, right?
in Garden Heights.
Khalil's death is a tragedy that rocks the community.
It changes everything.
In Williamson, it's a new story.
Just another headline.
Something that happened over there.
Yeah, like it's so far removed.
It's a painful reminder
It is.
of the disconnect between these worlds
The disconnect.
and the privilege that shields Williamson
Yeah.
from the realities of injustice.
And it's not just that her classmates are oblivious.
No, it's worse than that.
Starr even faces microaggressions from Haley,
I know, it's awful.
one of her white friends.
You know.
Remember the fried chicken comment?
Oh, yeah.
It's seemingly small,
Yeah.
but it cuts deep.
It does.
These microaggressions force Starr
It's exhausting for her.
to constantly explain, defend, and educate, which is exhausting.
Right, she shouldn't have to.
Those microaggressions, even if unintentional,
Yeah.
reveal the subtle forms of racism
They do.
that Starr encounters at Williamson.
Even in a place that seems progressive on the surface.
It shows how deeply ingrained those biases are,
It really does.
even in a seemingly progressive environment.
It's like they're blind to it.
And it reinforces the idea
It does.
that Starr can't truly be herself.
Nope.
In either world.
She's always got to be code switching.
She's always having a code switch.
Always aware of how she's being perceived.
It's like she's carrying this invisible weight on her shoulders.
This heavy weight.
Always having to be on guard.
Always on guard. And then there's the whole issue of her testimony.
Right. Going to the police station.
Oh, that scene
To give her statement.
is such a pivotal moment.
Yeah.
She feels this immense pressure to be good.
To say all the right things.
To say the right things, because who knows what could happen if she doesn't.
Exactly.
That scene is incredibly tense.
It is. Remember,
Yeah.
Starr's just a teenager trying to navigate this complex system.
Shouldn't have to deal with this.
A system that's already shown its bias against her community.
It's not fair.
The fear she feels
But it's palpable.
is palpable.
You can feel it radiating off the page.
And it takes a huge toll on her,
Oh, yeah.
especially on her relationship.
With Chris, her white boyfriend.
With Chris, her white boyfriend.
Yeah, that relationship is...
Their struggles highlight the challenges
Oh,
of
absolutely.
interracial relationships,
Especially in a society where racial tensions are so high.
especially in a society where racial tensions are so high.
Yeah. It shows how even love and good intentions
Yeah.
can't erase the systemic barriers that exist.
Can't erase the systemic barriers that exist.
It's a really nuanced portrayal of those complexities.
Yes.
And as if all of that wasn't enough.
Right. There's more.
The threat from King and the King Lords
I know.
is escalating.
They're always there.
Starr and her family
Living under that cloud of
are
fear.
living under this cloud of fear.
Looking over their shoulders.
Constantly looking over their
The
shoulders.
looming presence of King and his gang.
Yeah, it's scary.
It's a constant reminder of the dangers that exist
In Starr's community.
in Starr's community.
You know, it makes you think about,
Think about the cyclical nature
yeah,
of poverty, violence, and oppression
that's a cycle.
that can trap individuals
Entire neighborhoods.
and entire neighborhoods.
King represents that cycle.
He does.
And his hold on Garden Heights.
Feels inescapable.
He's a terrifying figure. And his control over people's lives
It is.
is just heartbreaking. And then, just when you think things can't get any worse,
Oh gosh, there's more.
we meet Devante,
And
a King Lord
another one.
who shows up at Starr's house,
Seeking refuge.
seeking refuge.
He was close to Khalil.
He was close to Khalil.
And he's terrified of King.
And he's terrified of King.
He's going to
Why-
reveal, this huge reveal.
About Khalil.
Khalil was selling drugs to protect his mother from King.
Oh, wow.
Changes everything.
Devante's arrival
Yeah.
and the truth about Khalil's involvement
Yeah.
with drugs
It's a game changer.
complicate the narrative in a powerful way.
They do.
They force Starr,
And us as readers.
on us as readers.
To confront our own biases and preconceived notions.
You think you know the story.
Yeah.
They also humanize Khalil,
They do.
showing that his actions
Yeah.
were driven by love
Love for his mom.
and a desire to protect his family.
It makes his story all the more tragic. It's such a powerful reminder that things are rarely black and white. Oh, yeah.
Especially in a community facing so many systemic challenges.
Especially in a community facing so many systemic challenges.
And it sets the stage for the next part of Starr's journey,
All right.
which is all about finding her voice and fighting back against the injustices
That she sees.
she sees around her. Before we dive into that, though,
Yeah.
make sure you hit that like button and subscribe
Do it.
to our channel
Don't miss out.
for more insightful book discussions.
The deep dive.
We'll be back with part 3
Looking forward to it.
to finish up our deep dive into The Hate You Give. So stick around.
Can't wait.
Welcome back to our deep dive into The Hate You Give.
We're back.
We left off with Starr,
Yeah. Facing the truth about Khalil.
facing the truth about Khalil.
And that ever-present threat of King.
Yeah, it's a lot.
But despite all of that,
She's starting to find her voice
she is.
and figuring out how to fight back.
That's right.
You know what really struck me
What's that?
in this last part of the book is how Angie Thomas shows the power of community,
It really comes through.
even in the face of so much pain and injustice.
That's such a key takeaway.
It is.
Even though Starr and her family are dealing with intense personal struggles.
Yeah, they've been through so much.
And they're not alone.
They're not. They have this
They have this network of support.
amazing support system.
Their family, their friends, their community
Yeah.
that helps them through it.
Think about Mrs. Ofra, for example.
Oh, yeah, Ms. Ofra.
She's not just a lawyer fighting Khalil's case.
Right.
She becomes a mentor and guide for Starr,
She does.
showing her how to use her voice to demand justice.
She is a true force of nature.
She is. She helps Starr understand
Understand what?
that silence isn't an option,
Right. You have to speak up.
that speaking out, even when it's scary,
Yeah, it can be terrifying.
is crucial.
Absolutely. And that's what leads to the protests.
Yeah.
And the riot in Garden Heights.
It's like all of the pent-up frustration and anger
All those
at the systemic injustices they've faced
boils over.
boils over. The riot's a pivotal moment in the story.
It is. Think about historical examples,
Like what?
like the LA riots
Okay.
or Ferguson.
Yeah.
These weren't just random acts of violence.
Right. They were a reaction.
They were the result of years
Years and years.
of oppression, of
Okay.
communities pushed to their breaking point.
Pushed too far.
The riot in The Hate U Give reflects that same sense
Of desperation.
of desperation
Yeah.
and the need to be heard. Star's right in the middle of it.
She is.
And you see her wrestling with the chaos
Yeah, the distraction.
and destruction,
It's scary.
even as she understands the reasons behind it.
It's a powerful depiction of the complexities of social movements.
It is how the desire for change
Yeah.
can clash with the fear of things spiraling out of control.
It's easy to get flipped up in the moment.
Exactly.
And that internal conflict is so relatable.
It is. Many of us have been in situations
I know I have.
where we see injustice
You want to do something.
and want to speak out, but also fear the potential consequences.
The what ifs.
Star's struggle reflects that universal dilemma,
It does.
and it makes her journey even more compelling.
I agree. The riot marks a turning point for Starr.
It does.
She realizes that she can't stay silent anymore.
Right, that she has to be actively involved in the fight.
Involved in the fight for justice.
For justice.
And that leads to her finally speaking out publicly.
Using her voice.
Using her voice to share Khalil's story and demand accountability.
That moment when she takes the megaphone
Oh yeah, at the protest.
is so powerful.
It's incredible.
It's the culmination of her entire
It
journey,
really is.
of her growth and understanding of the power she holds.
Within herself.
Within herself.
It's a coming-of-age moment.
Yeah, where she steps into her own agency.
And refuses to be silenced.
It's inspiring, for sure.
It is.
And it's a message that resonates.
Far beyond the pages of this book.
It's a call to action.
It is.
For all of us to use our voices.
That speak out against injustice.
No matter how big or small. But it's important to note
What's that?
that the ending of The Hate U Give
Yeah.
isn't all sunshine and roses.
No, it's real life.
It's not a neat and tidy resolution.
But everything gets fixed.
Where everything gets fixed.
The family decides to move out of Garden Heights,
Yeah,
highlighting the lasting impact of trauma
the trauma.
and the difficult choices people are forced to make.
For their own safety.
That decision underscores the reality
Your reality.
that sometimes, even after you fight for change,
It's not over.
you still have to deal with the consequences of a system
A system that's broken.
that's broken.
It's a bittersweet ending, for sure.
It is.
But even in that bittersweetness,
There's hope.
there's house
We see the community coming together to rebuild
after the riot.
after the riot, supporting each other,
Yeah.
and continuing the fight for justice. It shows the resilience of the human spirit,
That strength.
the ability to find hope even in the darkest of times. And it's a powerful reminder that change doesn't happen overnight.
No, it takes time.
It's an ongoing process.
And we all have a role to play
We do.
in creating a more just and equitable world.
Absolutely. Speaking of playing a role,
Oh, yeah.
one character who often gets overlooked,
Who's that?
but brings a really important perspective,
Okay.
is Isha, Seven's girlfriend.
Oh, Aisha, yeah.
She's tough,
Tough.
cynical, and her relationship with Seven and Kenya
Complicated.
is complicated, to say the least.
She doesn't sugarcoat anything.
She doesn't. But Aisha represents a reality that's often ignored.
What's that?
Her views on Devante, on gang life,
Shaped by what she's seen.
are shaped by the harsh realities she's witnessed firsthand.
Yeah.
She's a reminder that there's always more to people than
There
meets
is.
the eye,
Then meets the eye.
especially in communities that have been marginalized and stereotyped.
Her presence challenges us
It does.
to look beyond our own biases.
And understand the complexities of lived experiences
Yeah, those lived experiences.
within these communities. And as much as The Hate U Give is about systemic injustice,
And fighting for change.
it's also a story about family, love, and the power of community.
It is.
It's about finding your voice,
Even when it feels impossible.
even when it feels impossible.
And using it to make a difference in the world. Angie Thomas gives us a story
I love this book.
that's both timely and timeless.
It is.
And it's one that will stay with you.
Long after you finish reading it.
It's thought-provoking, powerful,
And ultimately, a story about hope.
hope.
If you haven't already read The Hate U Give,
You gotta check it out.
I highly recommend adding it to your list.
Do it.
It's a must-read for anyone who wants to understand the complexity
Yeah, those complexities.
of race, class, and justice in our society. And if you enjoyed this deep dive,
Deep dive.
make sure to hit that like button
Like, subscribe.
and subscribe to Book Summary Podcast for more insightful discussions
More deep dives.
on books that make you think.
Keep those brains working.
Until next time,
Happy reading.
happy reading.